You're back. What about that then?
Yeah, no, it's good to be back. Very good to be back. It's nice to see a lot of the lads and the coaching staff and directors and all the rest of it. I'm looking forward to getting started.
And looking forward to playing on Saturday potentially.
Well, no, I don't know about that. I mean, obviously, some involvement would be nice, whether it's on the bench or whatever. But no, we'll just see how it goes. Obviously, Shane scored a couple of goals, and hopefully that will kick him on. And Doyle has scored recently, so no, we'll just see how that goes.
I read comments that you were sort of disappointed that the team had broken up, and that your heart was, to an extent, still back at Reading. So that's obviously a big part of your decision to come back here.
Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, when City went, and then Shorey and Glenn and myself, and it was I just felt that team had probably 2 or 3 more years in it, actually, maybe even more, and it was just a shame to see it really just break up. I felt prematurely. I felt at the time that it should have still been in the Premiership, and I was angry that for whatever reason it wasn't. And it's Glenn coming back, himself coming back. Hopefully it'll just kick us on and get us back up there. I still feel that's where we belong. And
I read when Reading played Stoke in the League Cup in a local paper up there that you said even then that one day you'd like to come back to Reading perhaps, and I suppose it's come sooner than you expected.
Well, no, actually, no. It's come at a good time. It's the team are they're in a good position. They've got those 2 games in hand, but obviously that's not points in the bag. And if myself and Glenn coming back just perhaps nudge us in the right direction and help the players who are already playing on the pitch, put a bit of a rocket up them, and it's all good.
Is there part of you sort of frustrated that things didn't work out at Stoke in as much as you could have been a key player there?
I'm frustrated that I never got the chance to show what I could do, there were times when I was wondering why I'd been brought to the club, but that's hopefully now that's in the past, and these few games I can concentrate on these games and hopefully get Reading back into the Premier League.
And if that happens, Dave Kitson permanent fixture at Reading, do you think? Is that a possibility?
You're talking to the wrong man. Need to talk to the man who holds the purse strings. It'd be nice, but the job in hand is getting us into the Premier League, and then anything that happens after that happens.
You must be looking forward to the reception you'll get from the Reading fans, because 54 goals in 111 games you thought would deserve a decent applause on Saturday or whenever that might be.
Yeah, I hope so. I do hope so. I'll understand if a couple of them are a bit miffed when I left, but the club got fantastic money for me. I felt I needed to be in the Premier League, and I readily hold my hands up and say that was a mistake. What I needed was a club where I felt wanted, which I already had, and a family that were happy, which I already had. And I threw all of that away for what I thought was going to be a new challenge, because I felt that's what I needed, and that was wrong. That was the wrong decision, and that was my fault, and so I'm just delighted to be back, and hopefully I can get all that back in place.
So the mechanics of the return, did you have to get on the phone to Steve Coppell, or is it Tony Pulis and Steve Coppell the
I think
director?
Yeah, I mean they're good friends, and I think Reading went through a little patch where they weren't scoring, and I think Steve just put that question to Stoke, and you don't ask, you don't get, and I think he was surprised that Stoke were willing to do something. And as soon as I heard that, I just phoned everyone who I felt could have a bearing on getting this deal to happen, and just begged them to do it. And I'm grateful to Stoke for allowing me to come back, and obviously I'm ever so grateful to the manager here, and in particular Nick Cameron, who was instrumental in the deal, and he said to me that's probably been one of the hardest deals he's done, because it seems so unlikely. So I'm ever so grateful to him. He did move some mountains to make it happen.
And when you walked back into the changing room, what was the response of all your former teammates and now your current teammates?
Well, I haven't done that yet. This morning will be the first time that I'll meet the new lads that I don't know. A couple of the lads, obviously I know most of them, but I dent want to. I went to the Charlton game, but I didn't want to go down there and take their minds off the game. game or see them afterwards either. I was going to go and see them afterwards, but I know that I've had games like that where we've sort of thrown away a couple of points, and the last thing you want is someone coming down all smiles. So it's probably best just to wait until today.
All in all, quite emotional, quite a difficult path to tread for you.
I think Saturday will be. At the moment, I'm still just buzzing, and my feet just want to get going. I want to get on the pitch and just play some football.
Well done. Nice to see you back. Cheers.
Thanks.
How does the squad compare to when you were last there?
I don't know. I haven't trained with any of the new lads. I've seen them play, obviously, a few times. Obviously, the Reading have been on telly quite a bit. I think I'd speak to Brian McDermott. Obviously, he's the scout here and responsible for bringing in some of the players. And every time a new one comes in, I phone up Brian and he'll tell me about them. Noel, I know a little bit because he came at Christmas time from Dundee when there was a break up there and did really, really well in training. I think that probably helped him a lot to get the deal to come to Reading. Comparing squads, I don't know. It's difficult. The team that we played in that won the championship was just a unique thing, and very, very rare in football to win a domestic competition by that margin at whatever level. And so I think it's very, very unfair to make comparisons. All we want to do is get into the Premier League. It doesn't matter if you scrape in by 1 point or 100 and whatever it was. So we'll see.
You've obviously played here before. You know majority.
I have, yeah.
I seem to remember watching it a couple of times. Will you be nervous? Is it meeting
of course
again and sort of stepping out with Daisy Stadium?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got some characters around. Harps won't allow you to feel nervous. He'll make you look stupid somehow. That's the beauty of having him around. But I think it's just going out onto the pitch again and in the situation that we're in as well. We're so close, but we just really need to kick on. We need to sort of put a few wins together. You'll get a little bit nervous. Some games you get more nervous than others, but I've said to you before, the pressure thing and football, and for me, I don't see it as a pressure industry. I know a lot of people do, and of course there is a lot of pressure on people, but for me it was always about just going out and playing a game of football.
When did you start getting frustrated at Stoke, Dave? When did it sort of set in?
I don't know. I don't know if I was frustrated. I was more bemused, really, with the situation. I was just, I'd been bought for a lot of money, and I just wasn't sure that I was being utilised in the way that I thought I was going to be. And there's a sort of a lot of pondering, as if you have some days at training where you go back and you do wonder what you're doing and why you've been bought there. But that's, like I say, I held my hands. It was my fault. It's my fault. I made the decision to go to Stoke. Didn't have to. Nobody forced me to go. And it was a bad decision. Probably the worst footballing decision I've made. And I think when you don't consider things, what you've got, you get frustrated. Everyone gets frustrated in their job, but rather than looking back and trying to take the positives and looking what I had and what I could achieve, I could have been part of this squad that got back up there again and hopefully stayed in the Premier League again. But I chose not to be a part of that, and that was it's the worst decision I've ever made.
You didn't fall out with Tony Pulis at all or anything?
No, Tony Pulis is a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Very interesting guy, very forthright, and a decent bloke. Have a beer with Tony any day of the week. He's a very, very interesting bloke, very intelligent guy. So we've got no problems in that respect.
They're two very different teams, aren't they? You're used to playing football with Reading, and still got this reputation for.
Yeah, I just got. I think I got blindsided. I think I chose to see what I felt I needed to see rather than what was actually happening, and I felt that I've always played, Cambridge, Reading and Stoke, unfashionable sides if you like. They're not huge glamorous teams, and I felt maybe that might be a good chance to go there and help another unfashionable side do well in the Premier League as they are, and rather than looking at is it right for me, and obviously it wasn't. So it was, in hindsight, as a manager always says, is the benefit of hindsight. It was a mistake.
Strikers obviously got to score goals, haven't they? And the longer that went on, was that playing on your mind, or?
Well, I think it was 10 games.
Yeah.
10 games, and 10 games, two of which I played left midfield, and I think the majority of the others centre midfield, and so it was very difficult. And like I say, you don't become frustrated or angry, you just become bemused after a while. So it's, when I look back at my career, I'll look back at that period, and it'll I'll look at that and think that didn't happen. And that's how I'll deal with it. So, no disrespect to Stoke or anything. It's a great club. The fans are absolutely incredible. I've never heard fans as loud as Stoke's. Just incredible. Like I say, very pleasant people. I'm sure they'll stay up, but it just, for whatever reason, you go to some clubs it doesn't happen, and in this situation I happen to be the player that it didn't happen for.
I mean, how long have you got on your Stoke contract? If Reading don't go up, what would happen then?
Well, after this season, another 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be going back anyway at the end of the season. It's just, for me now, trying to salvage something from this season, and if that is getting Reading into the Premier League, then my God, what a way to end the season. It's fantastic. So we'll see. Like I say, anything that happens after that is out of my hands. I can beg and plead as much as possible, but it's a financial thing, and the size of the transfer to Stoke is obviously going to have a big bearing on anything that happens. So we'll see.